All right, y'all. So let's talk about this. So I watched this video of Roy Jones pretty much cursing out his fighter. Um, I didn't see the fight. I did see some highlights. And highlights can be purposely put together to show one fighter looking dominant. I don't really know. I didn't see anything special happen, but I saw a lot of comments of people saying that this guy, Kevin Newman, lost. Now, I don't know if it was bias or if he really lost. I don't know. I didn't see the fight. Like I said, I didn't see anything really special in the highlights. But listening to what Roy Jones was saying to him, let me tell y'all this. Now, it might seem harsh when a trainer is getting on his fighter's case, right? Now, the truth is either your fighter has it or he doesn't have it. Okay, sometimes you can talk until you're blue in the face and they still won't do what you're asking them to do. Okay, even when you physically have the ability, if you're chicken shit inside, you won't do the things that you need to do because you're scared. Obviously, they're scared to get hit, scared of what's coming back at them. And so, let's look at what happened. Roy Jones is telling him that the guy's bitching him around. You throw a punch and back up, throw a punch back like you're scared to engage. He told him that you fight like you're fucking scared. And if you fight or quit boxing. Now, Roy Jones went too far with that shit. Let me tell you what happens. Fighters get frustrated in the ring, right? You're not helping the frustration. You're getting frustrated because you see what the fighter can do, but he's not doing it. Now, either the fighter has the ability or he doesn't. It's like I said, now the fighter is fighting with himself and he's not focused. He's upset. His feelings are hurt or whatever it may be. He's angry at you because the instructions you're supposed to be giving him and that you have been giving him throughout the fight, you're not doing it now. Now you're just yelling and screaming and cursing at the guy and telling him to quit fighting. Now Roy Jones went back and apologized for what he said to his fighter, right? At least I read that. As he should have. That was way too much. It made me think about something Teddy Atlas did, but what Teddy did, it was funny because I never seen anybody do that before. But what Teddy did worked. Teddy's not cursing at Michael Moore like he's some little bitch, like he's some little child, but he's yelling. He's like, "Come on, Michael, I need you to do this," and he's pleading with Michael. Michael just won't do what Teddy's asking him to do. So he told him, if you're not going to listen to me, I might as well go sit in the audience. And you can come back here and coach yourself in the corner, right? Because he's not listening to Teddy. He went out the very next round and he kept doing the same thing. So when he came back to the corner, Teddy Atlas wasn't there. Teddy Atlas went and sat out in front, just sitting there like, hey, he doesn't need my instructions because he's not listening, right? Now Michael Moore went out and started doing what Teddy asked him to do. When he comes back the next round, Teddy's there and he's pumping him up and trying to get him up to. So his frustration was to just go out in the corner. Since you're not listening to my instructions, okay, cool. Then what do I need to say to you, right? And he got through to him. Now, had he told him to fucking quit boxing, if you ain't fucking fight him, or quit fucking boxing, I'm like, damn, Roy, that's unprofessional as fuck, man. That was overboard. That was too far. But like I said, according to what I read, that he apologized to the fighter for speaking to him that way. A lot of times people want you to do something and they want the best for you and they get upset. But a lot of that too is because, hey, I'm your trainer. And then, yeah, your win is our win. Your fight is our fight. Your loss is our loss, okay? That type of mentality, that's the reality of it, right? So what happens is Really simple. They don't want to look bad as trainers. So when you resort to that to try to, you know, to try to encourage a fighter to go out there and do what they need to do, that's usually the wrong tactic. Um, your fighter either has it or he doesn't. This is why I don't understand how these fighters sit there, listen to the coach, but like you don't know what you're supposed to be doing. So when you're in training camp, you're not like, are you not downloading this data? The best fighters, you go look in history, the best fighters are always the fighters that know what they're supposed to be doing in the ring. The fighters that they will only do things if the corner instructs them to. They're not reading what's going on in front of them, not well enough. Which means when they get near the thinking fighter, they'll get blown away. Because that thinking fighter, with or without that coach's, pep talk in the corner and instructions, those fighters know what they're doing. And yeah, so I like I said, I didn't see anything special. I just saw highlights of that fight. I didn't watch the whole fight, so I don't really know. But like I said, the majority of the comments, I don't know if it was biased or not, but the majority of the comments are saying that Newman lost. And, they gave it to him because it's Roy's fighter or whatever. I don't know if that has anything to do with it or not. But that's too far. And for the record going forward, this is something that trainers need to understand, man. The fighter is already in there showing you that they're frustrated, that they're not getting it. Pull a Teddy Atlas on them. Yo, if you're not going to listen to me, when you come back in this corner, I won't be here. Because if you're going to just do what you want to do, you're not listening. I'm telling you what's right. I mean, it may work, it may not work. But you have to have the patience and the understanding of what's happening. And I guess Roy felt like, man, I'm telling this guy what to do. He's just not listening. I know when I did see a video of Roy Jones before the fight, and they asked him what we expect to see. He said, fast hands, a lot of speed. I hope so. Now he even said, I hope so, right? And he said, if he give me what I want, then we gonna get that, right? And basically, the guy went in there and he didn't do, like I said, I didn't see anything special. I didn't see anything, in the highlights that I saw. I think I don't know, what was the highlights? 5-6 minutes long, whatever it was, and I don't even think I watched the full thing, but the full video of it. But look. You got to find ways to motivate your fighters. You got to find ways to connect with your fighters. And you got to understand who they are. I think Roy Jones kind of knew that already because, like he said, I hope, right? I hope we're going to see the things that I'm saying. If you do what we practice on, we're going to see a lot of fast hands, a lot of speed. And that's what Roy liked. So, but yeah, he went too far with that. The thing is to help build the fighter up, not to try to tear them down. I mean, because the same way he wasn't producing in the ring what Roy needed him to produce, Roy wasn't producing what he needed to do in the corner. I mean, it doesn't matter what Roy was saying to him. Like, it just, he wasn't doing what Roy wanted. And it's not so much what Roy wanted, it's what he wasn't doing what he needed to do to really show dominance and win the fight, in the way that or at least the way that Roy think they could have won it. But yeah, he's fighting for himself. He's the one there taking the blows. He's the one in there that's going through it all. One thing about legendary fighters, they always love to say what they did and they did this, they all had fights where they didn't do something and the corner was telling them, yo, look, I need you to do this and that, whatever. But yeah, that's not the way to go. And I'm saying that, man, like for real. Because people see things a lot of times and they copy what other people do in that sense. I'm just saying as far as the Teddy Atlas thing, is like, fuck it. If he's not, try that. Just leave. Let him come back to the corner. You're not there to give him instructions. Then again, that might not even work. Because if you go and get knocked out, he'll probably blame you. Man, you wasn't there to instruct me. Well, you wasn't listening anyway, right? So just saying. And listen, here's my thing, right? You using your discretion is again, it's to motivate the fighter. But if you get mad at your fighter, now your fighter is fighting his trainer and he's fighting the opponent. You understand what I'm saying? He's fighting the opponent. You know, and let's say worst case scenario, he's in there with a biased referee, a referee that just is not doing his job properly. But you know what I'm saying? That's not gonna help. You know what I'm saying? It's just like as a parent, man. Sometimes I tell parents, listen, I understand what you're saying to your kid, and you're saying you want to motivate your kid, right? Your kid doesn't have the same understanding as you. You have to have patience, man. You can't expect your kid to just understand. Kids don't like to be told no. But you got to establish who's the adult, who's the authority. That's what you have, not just in your home. You're in their life. You're the parent. You can't wait till they get up here with you. Now all of a sudden you want to start trying to, you can't this, you have to understand what you're doing. And when you don't have the patience, because you know parents will say stuff like, I never would do nothing like that to my mother, father, and I never, right? And most of the time when they say it, they be lying because they probably was worse than their kids were. And they just don't know what to do, what to say to help them get on the right track. Even though they're trying, they don't know. So what do? They lose their cool and they have a temper. And the next thing you know, it's bad vibes. And the kid is going to school. You want the kid to focus and pay attention in class, but that kid is worrying about the words that you say. Like I heard, and I've heard this many times in the past. I heard a mother tell a child, sometimes I wish I never had you. You was nothing but a mistake. My life is ruined. Ever since you came here, all I do is, everything is for you. I got to have a life. And I'm like, damn. Now imagine that kid going through his or her day after your parents and said something like that to you. And everything that goes wrong in your life, your kids start blaming them. Next thing you know, your kid is on drugs. Your kid commits suicide. Your kid is failing because in their studies, they're not focused. They're hurting inside. They don't have a relationship with you. There's no bond there. They feel unwanted. They don't feel love from you. And it starts to screw them up mentally. And at some point, either you or you and your kids going to therapy and all this kind of stuff. You know what I'm saying? It's the same type of relationship, really, when you look at it. Right? Because as a fighter, you know, you telling him that the guy's bitching you right now, right? Making you like a bitch, right? But then you making him like a bitch too. Cursing out your fighter and telling him to quit fucking boxing if you ain't gonna fight him, or quit. Like, damn, the fuck, Roy? I heard that shit. I said, yeah. Now, I couldn't fit everything in the thumbnail. I could have worded it different, but like, no. I'm saying it might sound harsh when trainers get on their fighters. Okay, but that's why you see I put up there like Roy went too far. That was too much. That was way too much. That was like, you know, I guess he's not fighting for you. He's fighting to win for himself, but he's fighting for the team. Like, but solely, because with or without you, he's going to fight until he don't want to fight anymore. You know. Yeah, but yeah, I saw that, and I just, you know, people getting their emotions, getting their feelings. We've seen trainers in the past do this. We've seen trainers do the same thing, curse at their fighters, and I never liked that shit. Like, come on, man, motivate your fighter. This is another grown ass man you're talking to. Motivate the motherfucker, but not like that. That's not motivation. That's tearing him down. You making him feel like shit in the corner, and he'll go out there and not be strong enough to do what he had to. See, they think, oh, you try to get him mad. Well, a lot of fighters get mad and they fight stupidly, not strategic, not cerebral. You know. But it is what it is. And where the kid goes from here, I don't know. Not anybody I watch anyway, you know, but I saw what happened. Anyway, that's all I got for y'all right now. Catch y'all on the next video.